Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation. If you just logged on, you probably missed my opening housekeeping message. So before we go ahead and introduce our presenters, I'll cover that one more time. Today's presentation is being recorded, so if you're looking for a link to the recording, please feel free to watch your inbox in the days following the event for a link to the recording. You can use that for review or to share with a colleague. Also, if you have any questions for either one of our presenters today, please feel free to direct them via our chat and or Q&A window, and we'll do our best to address any questions that come in at the end of the presentation. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start today's presentation. We're going to cover what's new in Liquidware Essentials. And today, our presenters, we're being joined by Jason Smith and Kevin Cooke. And I'll go ahead and hand the controls over to Jason Smith, who can take us through today's presentation.
Joining us today on the web. So I'd like to thank several of you are existing customers, and we appreciate your business. And if you're considering Liquidware solutions, we appreciate you as well. We do this webinar at least 2 times a year because we do have many updates to our entire product suite, so you'll get a good feel for what's new lately from us. If you're not aware of Liquidware, we do provide full workspace lifecycle management that rapidly enables users and machines to adapt across any type of Windows environment. So we have solutions that are very integral at any plan of your Windows deployment, including at any phase, I should say, your Windows deployment, including planning, onboarding, and production. So whether you're thinking about your next desktop, and that could even be a physical desktop tower in a corporation or a laptop or any type of Windows desktop, if you're thinking about them, you can use our solutions to assess for those solutions. You can use them at the onboarding phase because we help you migrate and also onboard applications that will follow the user. And then when you're in production, we help you with your user management and to monitor and troubleshoot those environments so you can grow and scale those deployments. Our adaptive workspace management is really, that's the key word there. We help your organization adapt their workspace to whatever Windows workspace you may be going to soon. And we can even get down to the Edge OS and monitor whatever that is that gets you onto the Windows experience. Our 3 solutions provide user environment management, application layering, and then visibility. The user environment piece is by a product known as ProfileUnity, which delivers end-to-end user environment management beyond the user profile. While we do make a user profile portable across any type of Windows desktop experience, full user environment gets down to context-aware settings and the ability to manage that user environment granularly if need be, and that's usually the case in enterprises. Our application layering solution delivers applications just in time is known as FlexApp. It works together with our UEM solution to provide these applications on a context-aware basis without modifying your base image, therefore dramatically streamlining base image management. Our monitoring and diagnostic solution, also known as Stratusphere User Experience, helps you provide diagnostics and find root cause analysis of user experience, negative trends, things like that in an environment so you can right size those environments and you can grow and scale those environments. It's important to note that all of our solutions work across any type of Windows desktop, whether that's a virtual desktop environment, a cloud-based desktop environment, which would also usually be a virtual desktop, or a physical desktop, and even use cases that apply to many laptops as well. We'll get right into the updates for the user environment management solution set, and then the layering, and then I'll hand it off to Kevin to handle the Stratusphere portion of what's new. To recap a little more granularly for ProfileUnity, it provides a dynamic profile that really works across and adapts rapidly to any type of Windows environment. A common use case is the ability to go from a Windows 7 environment to a Windows 10 environment and let those coexist, or any server desktop-oriented environment, such as an RDS environment based on Server 2008, 2012, 2016. And now we also support Windows 10 multi-session environments, as you'll see in the updates here today. And that's key in the emerging Microsoft WVD platform. The superior profile management can work with many base profile solutions, including those that leverage a profile disk or profile container, to extend your profile management to go across more use cases, more operating systems, and get very granular about how you manage the user profile itself, enabling you to restore a user profile in seconds, even across operating system environments. You'll see a demonstration of that today. The centralized policy management goes beyond group policies to give you very granular control of your group policies. So it goes beyond group policy preferences. To be able to do this, for instance, with role-based access, very logically, with great reporting mechanisms in there. So it's ideal for large enterprises and large teams that need processes very well documented, whether that is for change control or for compliance reasons in an industry that your organization might be in. Built-in privilege elevation and also application rights management, including restrictions, are key additional features in ProfileUnity that have it go beyond just profile management to full user environment management. Everything in the solution is context aware and can be made context aware, whether it's based on user, group, time of day, Wi-Fi access point location that the user's logged into. Really, if you combine all of the possible scenarios, there's over 244 different ways that you can slice and dice, and to come up with a context-aware or a location-aware setting to apply either an application, a restriction, or a profile or policy attribute within the solution. Advanced features include profile disk and profile containers. We also work with profile containers such as those that you may have recently heard about from Microsoft to extend that capability, as you'll see in the demonstration today of some of what's new. And again, while we support physical and virtual desktops, we also support any type of cloud integration, that is to store the user profile directly onto object-based storage, or to do that as a secondary mechanism, whether that's in addition to your SMB storage for your user profile and user settings. So as you can see, ProfileUnity user environment management goes well beyond just the profile to unify all parts of data that really are centric to the end user. Our FlexApp application layering solution provides universal application delivery. What I mean by that is it doesn't stop at FlexApp itself. It enables you to deliver other types of applications emerging, as you'll see from us later this year, App V packages as well as MSIX packages. Advanced delivery includes the ability to lay down a package at boot time, at login time, on a context-aware basis, or a very innovative click-to-layer basis. The click-to-layer is quite unique to FlexApp, and it's an industry first still. You won't see this from any other vendor that applies application layers to a desktop. That is, we leave a stub icon on the desktop that represents the application, and only if the user clicks on that icon will the application be layered to the desktop just in time. This enables you to have great login performance because many applications may not be used by a user. Other use cases for click-to-layer include multi-session environments, like a Windows RDS environment or a Windows 10 multi-session environment, where you want to publish an application out to a set of users, but you don't want to reboot the server, enabling you to basically publish an application live to an RDS or Windows 10 multi-session server, Citrix server, without rebooting the server itself. The first user that clicks on that click-to-layer icon, There'd be just a few second delay while that application is brought in, but the multitude of users that are also hitting that same server would get instantaneous response directly after that. FlexApp also has integrated cloud-based storage, object-based storage, enabling you to save your packages not only to Microsoft Azure, but also to other clouds that are popular, such as Amazon, and also emerging clouds like Nutanix, and we also support Google Blob storage. Features like the ability to package an application only one time, package once, and it follow across multiple operating system versions. The ability to package applications very quickly. You can package an application in about the same time it takes you to install that application. So that's pretty innovative compared to other layering solutions in the market. And then FlexApp Cache, bringing the bits of the application down to the endpoint so performance is enhanced, especially in well-managed physical desktop environments and also on RDS type of experiences. FlexApp Cache also further solidifies FlexApp layers when they're brought across the network because the application is cached locally. So if you have any network hops or anything, it avoids any hiccups or notice of a bad user experience for that application. While network performance and minimizing this to be able to cache the application to the endpoint is unique to FlexApp, in other solutions in the industry, you may indeed have interruptions across the network because the applications are not brought down to the endpoint the way that we're doing it. That's also an industry first. This is a look at the ProfileUnity management console in its current modern form. So if your console, if you're a current customer, doesn't look like this, we highly recommend that you update your console. Many of the most popular features are circled here. And if you're not familiar with ProfileUnity and FlexApp, you'll notice that the red numbers indicate that a configuration is present under certain icons, meaning a configuration is present. To get started with ProfileUnity, of course, it's really easy. We have guided configuration templates that will configure a robust portable profile folder redirection for popular folders where user-authored data reside, and also automated migration that will occur behind the scenes. Again, that's the management console, what the administrator would see. This is a brand new slide. If you've attended our webinars before, you've not seen it presented in this way, and that's because we are very proud. We have many industry firsts, and while we're going to review what's new in ProfileUnity and FlexApp in the next couple of slides, this slide also showcases and focuses on innovations that we've made in the last couple of years that we may not dive deep in today, but it's useful for you to know that these are industry first, and some of these are still exclusives in the industry that no other UEM solution or application layering has. For ProfileUnity, the user-authored data migration, we actually migrate user-authored data. Not only do we redirect a simple folder, for example, My Documents, but we help you get in the best practice state of being by being able to migrate that data behind the scenes with zero user downtime to an SMB file share or to clouds that were mentioned earlier. Context-aware app deployment really brings this from ThinApp, and soon we'll also do the same thing from AppV and MSIX, being able to contextually aware deploy applications as well as FlexApp applications. Integrated application rights management within a UEM solution was an industry first by Liquidware. Other vendors had charged for this, or you had to license a separate product. While privilege elevation and application restriction feature sets like this that make up our application rights management are included in your license cost for ProfileUnity. Cloud native profile storage for Azure, Amazon, and Google were an industry first and remain an industry first in the industry, giving you the ability to not only save profiles to SMB file shares, but also to your cloud of choice with API hooks that that make it easy for you to do this. In that way, you can use it as a migration mechanism if you're changing over solutions to a cloud desktop, or if you're just using it as a backup in the cloud, to be able to restore a user's profile at any given moment. And also, ProfileUnity is the first UEM solution on the Amazon Marketplace and the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. Microsoft Azure Marketplace having just been added in the last release. For FlexApp, many industry first are in there and in the product, and that includes micro isolation. That's the ability for two applications not to encounter many conflicts or any conflicts when they're reaching for the same DLL if they weren't packaged at the same time. That's just a for instance. And also if there's any conflicts with the OS, within the OS itself. This is not full isolation like a thin app or NATV. Micro isolation makes it easier to package layers that were not aware of each other, or in other words, packaged at the same time. So you don't have to do a logically package this app and then that app, et cetera, et cetera. And it also helps with your application updates. Cloud native Flex apps are the ability to, for us to have saved cloud. This is a similar feature to the next couple, so I'm stumbling a little bit, but this is the ability to save application packages up to Google, Amazon, and Microsoft Azure to be able to save those directly to object-based storage, and that helps you with following the application around. We'll jump down to, so I'll explain what the other cloud one is. FlexApp Cloud Apps is the ability that we've given you to have prepackaged apps. As soon as you install ProfileUnity and FlexApp, you have several prepackaged apps that you can apply without having to package anything. And I believe there's about 13 current prepackaged applications in there that are hosted on either Azure or Amazon, and you can clone those if you want to go into production with those, or you can try those out directly from cloud. FlexApp Cache Mode, we mentioned earlier, but that was an industry first, bringing bits of the application down to the endpoint so you have an uninterrupted experience with your applications. Being able to package apps fast and to package them once, which was covered earlier, was an industry first. Session isolation, that's an industry first that gives you the ability to bring an application to an RDS box or a multi-session 10 box, or two examples, and you can put many applications on that one machine and have multitude of users logging in, and only the applications that they have been enabled for will be seen by each individual user. Here's the use case, right? The accounting department and the HR department may be hitting the same Citrix server or multi-session 10 server, yet they'll only see the applications that they are enabled for. I skipped forward one too many. So we'll talk about what's new here in both ProfileUnity and FlexApp since the last time that we've done one of these webinars. If you'd like more details about what's new in the last year, I recommend you go out to our website and you look at the recorded webinar from this previous session that we did about 6 months ago. So what's new lately? Well, we're going to cover 3 product versions here that have been released this year. And so ProfileUnity's overall execution time, the agent has been dramatically streamlined back in April. So we're faster than we ever have before. And then we also supported AppStream, Amazon AppStream support. We had supported this previously, but we smoothed out the integration where there's less manual steps to come into an AppStream environment. We're running quite well across many Amazon AppStream environments. If you're not familiar with Amazon AppStream, it makes many applications available within a browser. So it's an overlapping use case for publishing out apps, make them easily available. We are exclusively available by supporting Amazon AppStream environments. We're the only layering solution that is accepted currently in that ecosystem. And version 6.8.2 was released soon thereafter. So this had to do with many speed updates across the product. The availability of Flex apps based on login time decreased by 10 times. So we have other ways of bringing in Flex apps. At boot time is perhaps the fastest way to get Flex apps into an environment. And also, I'd mentioned earlier, click to layer. But even at login time, we'd sped that up. CPU and RAM consumption were greatly reduced too. from the initial hit that you may be taking at login time from our agent. So if you're not up to date with these last, as I say, if you're not up to date to these product versions, you see there's quite compelling reasons to upgrade to these product versions. The Amazon Marketplace integration happened in 6.8.2 as well. And then 6.8.3, usually in these What's New webinars, we'll cover what has just shipped or GA. But I'll go ahead and mention this because we are about to ship. We plan to ship within the next, at least within the next couple of weeks, 6.8.3. And here's what's new in that. Seamless FlexApp compatibility with FS Logics. You'll see this in a demonstration today. And then also ProfileUnity compatibility within FS Logics as well, which is not in the text, but you'll see that also today. Windows 10 multi-session support, which is a brand new operating system from Microsoft. Some people think that WVD, Windows Virtual Desktop, is Windows 10 multi-session support. You'll actually see in the demonstration today that WVD is just the back end. You can do any type of operating system in that is supported by Microsoft, and they currently support a couple, and we'll be supporting more as time goes along. And then integration into the Microsoft Azure Marketplace is in this pending release. Full integration, we're already listed, but then we're going to do the licensing integration, which will go live shortly. I'm going to recap a few slides that might not be what's new lately, but are certainly worth pointing out as exclusive features of ProfileUnity. So ProfileUnity and both FlexApp share an architecture. And this architecture is more cloud-centric than any other vendor in the industry. You can still do on-prem and you can still do SMB or CIF shares to store your applications and your profiles and your user author data, but now you have added options. It's a brave new world we're in out there with all these cloud options. Helps you have a great highly available method for your data, for failovers, for migrations, so you'll have a spot in the cloud for all these things. We have many customers with physical desktops today and with on-prem VDI that are leveraging cloud services without going to full cloud desktops today. So our architecture is very much keeping it simple. There is a management console out there that runs. You saw an image of that earlier. That can be in the cloud or on-prem. And then you have your configuration files, which are best located in the NetLogon file share of your domain controller. This is where your configuration is. Your agents can be cached from, but they're actually recommended to be put into the base image once you go production. And then the rest of the architecture has to do with desktops that are available. In this case, any type of desktop, physical cloud, or an RDSH on-prem desktop, for example. Object-based storage can be leveraged for FlexApp VHDs. Also, on-prem storage can be leveraged too. We have some examples in there of the clouds that we support. User cloud storage for popular user author data that can be leveraged. It includes not only your local SMBs or CIF shares local to your on-prem environment, but also any cloud type of storage device that we can make sure are in sync with those areas as well, and the ones that are pointed out here. So what you have here is the only cloud native user management and FlexApp application layering management in the industry. Cloud native across multiple clouds so that you can leverage. So when a user logs in, the agent runs, the user profile comes down from the cloud or from SMB storage, and the user is off and running, even across multiple operating system versions. So one profile that goes across Windows 7 and 10 or any type of server environment. Any applications brought in from FlexApp would be brought down from the cloud or SMB from VHDs where they're containerized, and the user is off and running, as you'll see in the demonstration today. That's a recap of our cloud-based architecture, and also mentioning even on-prem. So FlexApp Cloud Apps, this was a feature that we introduced about a year ago, but still very much worth mentioning here because the ones that you see with the Liquidware water drop on them were ready to go before you ever packaged anything. So we've got FileZilla in here, for example, was a cloud app that was cloned to the environment from that. So you cloned it once you went into production and leveraged that one, but then you also may have packaged your own. So you have 3 versions of FileZilla in there. So you can get off and running. Most of those are open source applications that have the water drop on them already packaged up, and you can hit your proof of concept or pilot now even faster. Or you can clone those and put them in production. The enhanced ProfileUnity client, again, if you have not upgraded your management console and your clients, we highly recommend that you do so, because the client has been dramatically streamlined within the last 6 months over the course of a couple of releases. So it's the fastest execution ever from our client, fastest runtimes, and dramatically decreasing your overall login speed times. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a demonstration of the most recent version of ProfileUnity. It's actually the version that's about to ship within the next couple of weeks in a Windows virtual desktop environment. We're showing here how we embrace and extend profile container technologies other than our own to give you great granular control of your profile that will even go across operating system versions. The demonstration that you'll see here across 2 different types of desktops can be done from physical to virtual. In this case, 2 different desktops in the Windows virtual desktop infrastructure. I'm going to go back a slide because I clicked one too many times to start the demonstration. So you have 2 desktops that are logged in here. You'll note that their profile stores are up above in the 2 windows, the left and the right one. One is for Windows 10 multi-session, while the other one is for Server 2016. What we're going to do is we're going to activate ProfileUnity in this environment. Ray, we may be best served for you to start the video, because the clicks are there's too much latency for me to get this started. So we're going to take this ProfileUnity configuration that's on the desktop, and we're going to actually put it into production. So these users have not yet enjoyed the ability for a profile to go across multiple operating systems, and they don't have the granular, the administrator doesn't have the granular control that they would have. So these users have already logged into 2 different disparate desktops on WVD, as I said, one for Windows Server 2016 and this other one for Windows 10. So now we're logging back in with ProfileUnity that's going to connect the 2 environments and also give you full user environment management with context-aware settings. So first you had the FSLogix profile container run that brought back the user persistency, and now you have the granular capabilities from ProfileUnity that have run. We're going to create some user settings in this environment that will continue to follow the user across. You'll note that there's an icon on the desktop for Firefox that wasn't even there previously. It was brought in by FlexApp layering. So at least one application brought into WVD through FlexApp layering here. We're going to open up Outlook, and Outlook is going to ask that we log in. So we're actually putting in a real username into this environment. So the frustrations, if you had another desktop that you'd never logged on to before with Outlook, is of course your credentials, you'd have to log into them every time. While FSLogix profile containers are great for making the entire profile stick, you still, if you had disparate environments like we have here, you would have to log into Outlook on the other desktop at least once to have that profile stick, those profile application data settings stick in the environment. You'll note that our Outlook emails will start to come in. And in this environment, we're relying on FSLogix to provide the caching. You could also do this with our profile disk if you don't have access to FSLogix under the right licenses from Microsoft. You use our profile disk to also cache very large amounts of the profile down to the background. So as we enter our credentials for Microsoft Office, the user persistency starts to gain here into the application data settings. The application data settings, largely between operating system versions, are the same. It's just that they're located in different locations. So you need a remediation technology or a portability technology to be able to make those available so the user has a consistent profile between 2 disparate OS types. And again, we're demonstrating this in a WVD environment today, but this could be a Citrix environment that is on-prem and a WVD environment that is in the cloud. This could be a physical desktop and a WVD environment. It could be a VMware Horizon environment. It does not matter. Disparate profiles across operating system versions can become a problem, even in a singular operating system like Windows 10, because there's over 4 profile versions of Windows 10 itself. Now that we've put in our credentials for Office 365 and gone to the trouble of making sure that they were also in Microsoft Excel, we're going to add some other user customizations in this, and we're going to set bookmarks, for example, in Firefox. Now, while Firefox is in this environment a layered application, the profile itself is made portable with ProfileUnity and with FSLogix in this case. FSLogix in the singular Windows 10 multi-session environment, and then FSLogix again on the other environment. These profiles would not be connected if you ran FSLogix or our profile disk container alone. Those are good for one singular desktop environment. You cannot use them to migrate users to WVD, for example, between operating system versions. A common use case scenario might be from Windows 7 to 10 or from Server 2016 to multi-session 10. And also, if a profile disk, which largely looks, or a profile container from FSLogix, it largely looks like a local profile. If the profile becomes corrupt, the profile cannot be restored. Our portability technology, which is a backup of the profile, and you're seeing that in the demo right now, the profile actually is being backed up in addition to the profile container in FSLogix. You can restore a profile at any time if it becomes corrupt. The ntuser.dat file, for example, getting partially written at a log off would cause a profile corruption. And then you could reset the FSLogix profile container, or if you were only leveraging the profile disk from ProfileUnity, you could reset it, and then our portability will bring it back into the environment within seconds. And that's what you'll see here as we log into the second desktop. But now we've got a portability hive. What we're showing here is over 45, it says, compressed files that make up the user profile. The compression ratio is about a 50-to-1 compression ratio, making the playback of these files very, very fast. And keep in mind, we don't have the large files in here of the cache for Outlook, for example, or other large caches. Those are actually in the FSLogix profile container, and those will populate directly from the cloud. So Azure will bring those back down. So it's a very efficient way to play back all the application data settings and more. So this is the first time that the user has connected these two profiles, and ProfileUnity is going to run right here at user login and connect the user's multi-session Windows 10 profile to the user's Server 2016 profile. Both of those were FSLogix profile containers. So now, and you'll notice the application also followed the user across those desktops, and desktop wallpaper that was specified for this environment in the user data settings, or the policy settings for ProfileUnity applied uniquely to this desktop, so the user can tell these two desktops apart. Now, if we open up Outlook, all the credentials that you had entered as a user from the previous Windows session are going to stick into this environment. You'll see they're already populated. Office 365 is already licensed because that went across environments. It also is that way for Excel and others. So now you get a very robust profile. Profile container technology that really makes a profile stick was brought in by FSLogix. But now with ProfileUnity's portability, you can migrate that user to a brand new operating system environment. You can migrate them from on-prem into this environment, even across operating system environment. You can restore that profile if you need to reset the FSLogix profile container for profile corruption at any time. So it truly is the best of both worlds, extending the Microsoft technology profile container alone and giving you that flexibility to do live migrations with zero user downtime. We're not using a user state migration tool that's one way only. You actually can go back and forth between these operating system versions, and it'd be a very, very robust and fast experience, as you saw in this demonstration today. And that's available in our version 6.8.3, which will be shipping planned in the next couple of weeks. So I want to recap. Why would you choose ProfileUnity over platform tools, such as just a basic profile container, or maybe a desktop vendor such as VMware or Citrix that have some UEM things built into them? You might want to use them to unchain the UEM experience from those to be able to migrate across any type of Windows experience. Think of ProfileUnity running across any Windows desktop, multiple operating system support for one profile, and those policies will also follow them across there. Seamless cloud support, as you saw with the industry first that we have out there, supporting Google, Amazon, and Azure. Advanced features like application rights management run with admin privileges across those environments, integrated application layering environments, role-based access, so you can have delineated access. You can give one of your administrators power over printer mapping alone, for example, maybe another one over application deployment alone, so you give them access to be able to do shortcuts to the desktop or to deliver FlexApps or thin apps or AppV. And then you have one console that works across all of these things. It's easy to administer. Likewise, I want to remind you about some of the reasons you might want to choose our application layering. Ray, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, or to the application layering slide, one previous slide. Our application layering focuses directly on application layering. We do not do granular OS changes or patch management. We believe that you should leave those to Citrix provisioning and be able to do that in the base image, for example. We give you dynamic application layers that will work across any operating system environment that the package itself or that the application itself supports. So it's a package once mentality. You don't have to repackage everything just because you changed operating system environments like you might find in some of the platform tools that out there that do layering. Very fast packaging, that session isolation I mentioned earlier. There's no load balancers that are needed that you might have experienced from other vendors that provide layering. Innovative features that you'll only find with us, just reminding you about click to layer, micro isolation, easy to edit packages. These cloud apps that you have that we've prepackaged for you, and then the ability to have FlexApp across multiple clouds, supporting Amazon, Google, and Azure. So that's what's new with ProfileUnity and FlexApp, and also a reminder how we excel well over the platform tools that may be siloed to an individual Citrix or VMware environment, for example, work across any type of desktop. I'd like to turn over the next several slides to Kevin Cooke to be able to do an update for Stratusphere. Thanks.
Jason, thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. I'm going to shift gears here, talk a little bit about user experience visibility and Stratusphere UX. So Stratusphere UX, for those of you who may not be super familiar, Stratusphere UX is about providing end-to-end visibility of your workspaces. And as Jason mentioned, the common theme here is we are completely platform and Windows delivery agnostic. And so the opportunity here is to look at, from a user's point of view or from a user-centric point of view, how are your workspaces behaving? Are they meeting the business need? Are they meeting the end user experience need? And that is a independent metric that doesn't depend on any specific Windows delivery approach. Moreover, Stratusphere is collecting that information and storing that information at an administratively defined time period. So you define the sample interval. We can capture it as little as every minute. We find most organizations who are in more of an ongoing operations standpoint don't need it quite that frequently. but we can capture it at a very granular frequency, capturing well over 200 plus metrics at each sample interval. And we can store it for whatever data retention period you define, be it 90 days, 120 days, etc. And so we have an extremely large data set that is both wide in terms of the ability to trend that data and deep in terms of the ability to drill into that data to leverage it for more diagnostic, forensic, optimization, and analysis kinds of exercises. So it's a very diverse data set overall, and so it supports a very diverse set of use cases. Folks certainly know and love and respect Stratusphere for its ability to support things like diagnostics. As I've said, the ability to drill down into information, whether that's standard or traditional consumption kinds of metrics, whether it's an aggregation of things like log file data, whether it's going extremely deep into machine boot and login process. There is an extremely rich interface and set of tools to support diagnostics and drill down. For more proactive tasks, Stratusphere is employed to support operations and first tier, think help desk kinds of exercises. We're going to talk specifically about some enhancements and things that we've done in that area in the product recently. Stratusphere, of course, again, because we are platform agnostic and we can trend and look at information from a user's perspective, we are one of the premier choices for those looking to do an assessment or for those looking to create a baseline or gain analysis for some type of migration, whether that's a migration between operating systems, whether that's a migration from physical to virtual, from physical on-prem to virtual in the cloud. Again, think any A to B type of transformation, and the data, the analysis, and the metrics and information Stratusphere captures is industry leading in terms of its ability to support those kinds of exercises. And last but certainly not least, because we have that information from a user's point of view, we can aggregate and roll that information up to assist you in looking at things like platform optimization or health check or performance validation, or just frankly, hardware refresh time periods where you're looking for the metrics to be able to defend a change in hardware platform or perhaps a change in resource requirements, user density requirements. Really, the sky's the limit in terms of the data sets and how they can be leveraged to support change and to support different user experience visibility types of operations. So from that perspective, let's talk about what's new in Stratusphere. Stratusphere 6.1.3 was made generally available just very recently, about a week ago. And the majority of the feature sets or the majority of the enhancements made were to bolster existing and new features. I'll talk about what those are, but specifically, as Jason has done, I'm going to highlight some of the key and call out some of the specific features you may not be aware of. With respect to 6.1.3, we have some new and official support for Windows Server. It also includes support for the new Windows multi-session, of course, not yet shipping. So that will be an evolving feature set as that product continues to evolve and eventually is released by Microsoft. But in this release, official support for Windows Server 2019. We've also added a native client for Stratodesk and their No-Touch OS based clients. We've had some optimization, process optimization updates. I'll talk a little bit about that specifically in a bit, as well as some enhanced dashboard and opportunity to make that both more usable, more approachable, a little bit quicker and more responsive, and overall more meeting the need of some of our customers. We've had some additions to our advanced inspectors in terms of the ability to support drill down, as well as some additional views and some additional benefit in the application and process network metrics area of the product. As Jason pointed out, we also saw official licensing support in Amazon Marketplace. So you can now purchase, in addition to the bring your own license model that we've supported, you can now purchase licenses directly through Amazon Marketplace down to the individual user and at a frequency down to individual hours. So very granular licensing model now available through Amazon Marketplace. We've added certainly some bug fixes and security updates and some additional things to our session reporting, but let's get into some of those key features and talk at a little bit more depth in terms of some of the new and exciting things and enhancements that were made to Stratusphere UX recently. So for those of you who've been using Stratusphere for some time, one of the requests that we've had, and this addition was made a little earlier this year with some great enhancements with 6.1.3, is to make the Stratusphere data and expose the Stratusphere data, make it more available and more customizable in terms of the visibility attributes to a broader and richer audience within the IT organization. So the Stratusphere Dashboard Builder gives us now the ability to create widgets. You see here a version of that dashboard in dark mode. Create dashboard wizards that can easily be dragged and dropped. You connect those dashboard widgets on the back end to data sets, and you can change behaviors. You can filter. You can now, with 6.1.3, you can easily duplicate existing dashboards and enhance existing dashboards. We've put some controls in place to avoid deleting or removing critically important dashboards, but ultimately the dashboard builder is about you creating views and creating very customized views for different IT segments with a focus on those attributes and those metrics that are most important. It's all dynamic and highly customizable, and really what I love about the dashboard builder is you can use it as a springboard to then drill into individual data points or data segments, flip those and pop out one of our advanced inspectors and use Stratusphere from a diagnostic standpoint. So the workflow is enhanced now from moving from operations or first tier support into a diagnostics or troubleshooting type of workload, whether that's done by different IT groups or individuals who are making a change from proactive to reactive kinds of IT exercises. Stratusphere has really gone a long way to supporting and enhancing that experience. Process optimization, what a great feature. We've had so much feedback from our customers. Something that you'll find is very unique in a product set that might traditionally be considered a diagnostics or a monitoring type of solution. Process optimization actually takes action on individual workspaces, individual physical PCs, individual virtual machines. Essentially, it minimizes the negative performance effects of CPU-intensive applications by limiting those applications that are not in the foreground. Think of it as a safety net of sorts. If you've got perhaps underperforming hardware, perhaps you've got some older physical PCs that aren't quite yet due for a refresh, you need to ensure that those applications that are most important, those applications that are most frequently used, are gathering and have available to them the CPU and RAM resources that are necessary for users to get a positive user experience. Stratusphere is now optimizing those applications in an intelligent way, and it's doing so in a very non-invasive way. With Stratusphere 6.1.3, we've now optimized that experience overall. We've tuned some of the different profiles to make them easier with respect to single user, multi-user types of environments. In terms of aggressiveness, we now offer the opportunity for you to specifically exclude applications or include applications. You can now exclude entire subdirectories. So for example, never a good idea to de-elevate processes relating to antivirus or relating to display protocols as might be installed by Citrix or VMware. And so we've got some things built in, but ultimately you now have far more granular control, far more automation, and a great set it and forget it type of feature to breathe new life into old hardware, but ultimately ensure that key and important applications are given the resources they require when perhaps you've got underperforming hardware or underperforming VMs. I talked a little bit about application and process network metrics. This has been a really exciting feature for us. Think of it in this way. Stratusphere has always had the ability to look at specific applications and specific processes in individual workspaces in individual machines. Recently, we added the ability for you to now determine if those processes open up a network port, if that network port has attributes, where is it connecting to, what's the destination IP address, what's the latency, is there any jitter, and now you can look at that information and aggregate that information as it relates to I/O, latency, overall traffic. Profoundly important as it relates to not just looking at applications like Outlook, for example, but is Outlook slow? And if Outlook is slow, is it due to the instance of Outlook running in the individual workspace, or is it a wire level issue that happens between that workspace and the backend or cloud-based resources it's communicating to? So really profoundly extends the end-to-end visibility of Stratusphere UX. And with 6.1.3, we've added some new features, new enhancements, and new features within that use case to, again, profoundly extend the visibility and profoundly extend your ability to manage these workloads and look at them in a very granular and trendable way. Other guest support in Stratusphere 6.1.3, as I said, Windows Server 2019 is now included. As Jason pointed out, WVD, not necessarily tied, but very much related to Windows 10 multi-session. Windows 10 multi-session now officially supported in its current incarnation. As I mentioned, as that evolves and ultimately goes general availability later this year, we will follow suit and make sure that we keep pace with Microsoft's releases. We've got a native in-guest metrics now for Stratodesk, one of our alliance partnerships, and their Note Touch OS-based clients. Again, greatly extending that end-to-end reach, end-to-end visibility of Stratusphere now, not just what is the VM performance or the display protocol performance, but looking at the performance of the actual end node, the actual device OS. Is that end device OS, perhaps there's an issue or a challenge with a home user using a thin client, and you're concerned, is it the thin client, is it the virtual desktop itself, or is it the last mile as provided by a cable modem vendor or a cable provider that's causing some of those challenges as it relates to performance? With a native client in the end device, we're able to tie all of the individual machine aspects back to an individual user and allow you to see that visually end to end as it relates to performance, as it relates to metrics captured, as it relates to end-to-end visibility. I should say, or should add, Stratusphere has always supported all of the most current and recent versions of Windows. We have all of the most recent Linux distributions. We support Macintosh OS. We have in the past supported and created versions of our connector ID key for various embedded Windows OSs, and we've got some exciting announcements here with Stratodesk and a few other thin client edge or cloud edge device OS manufacturers coming up in the next couple of months and minor incremental releases. So look for more information from us in terms of end-to-end visibility in these very specific edge OS type device, hardware devices and OS-based devices. We're now officially supporting Amazon's Linux distribution. So for those looking to run AWS and other Amazon-based workloads, Stratusphere now supports most of those distributions, as well as all of the Microsoft and other OSs that I've already mentioned. And I should just say one other incremental feature. Stratusphere now has the ability to capture and report on user and session idle time. So as Jason said, why Stratusphere? Why does Stratusphere excel over other platform tools? Perhaps you might ask, well, why do I need this? I've already got Director. Or I'm a Microsoft client and I've got some tools from Microsoft. Or VMware is my platform of choice and I seem to be very happy with vRealize Operations Manager for Horizon. Stratusphere purpose-built, and as Jason pointed out, and I don't think that this is really something that can be understated, Stratusphere and all of the Liquidware solutions are completely platform and Windows delivery agnostic. And so looking to create a super metric or a high-level view of user experience, full stop. I don't care where Windows is delivered from. I don't care if it's virtual. I don't care if it's in the cloud. I don't care if it's physical. If you're looking to deliver a universal metric for user experience, you need a tool that transcends or measures user experience outside of these platforms. So you're not siloed in terms of the ability to capture detail. You're not siloed in your ability to aggregate and trend detail, and you're certainly not curtailed in your ability to go both deep and wide in the data set to talk about and gain visibility in some of the use cases that we've talked about on this call. To that point, the other difference is persistent visibility. Regardless of how you deliver Windows or how you're quantifying performance, Stratusphere is capturing that on all of those Windows devices, all of those machines, for all of the users and all of the applications that they're running all of the time. So other quote-unquote monitoring tools you'll find give you visibility to a subset or to a single machine at a single point in time. In the industry, we might refer to this as sort of a one-to-one use case. A user calls into a help desk. You use a tool or a diagnostics tool to look at that single user at that single point in time. And if that issue happens to be taking place at that exact moment, you see it and you remediate it. That's a one-to-one ratio. Because Stratusphere is looking at all of your users and all of your machines all of the time, and it can do so for all of your applications, regardless of whether you need to take an application-centric approach, a machine-centric approach, a platform-centric approach, or a user-centric approach. We can do that for all time. It's a many-to-many type of diagnostic or user experience visibility solution. So again, I don't want to overstate it, but there's a very profoundly important distinction between a one-to-one monitoring tool and a many-to-many visibility or analytics solution. Stratusphere, of course, is the latter, and that trendable detail to support in-guest user experience for all users, all machines, and all time is really what sets us apart. And that sort of brings me to the last point, and that is there are endless use cases that can be employed or leveraged on the back of that data set, whether it's monitoring, whether it's supporting assessments, whether it's onboarding users over time to a change in Windows delivery, whether it's validation of platform, validation of performance, help desk, diagnostics. I can go on and on. It is the data set and the ability to leverage that data set that makes Stratusphere profoundly different. I want to take this opportunity to make a shout out to our support team. For those of you on our call that are existing customers, if you've had a chance or you've had an opportunity to engage with our support team, you already know this. They are second to none. I am so proud of the work that they do and the efforts that they undertake on behalf of the organization, on the behalf of all of you. The support is really stellar, second to none. Our support team has recently updated and increased some of those support options. We now support live ticket-based supporting throughout all of EMEA in business hours that extends to basic support options for all customers. We now have or have always had 24/7 support options that are available. We've got an amazing industry satisfaction rate. Again, it's just unheard of to get this kind of accolade and this kind of feedback, both from customers as well as our own internal efforts to maintain that level of quality. And we continue to increase the staff. I mean, just great things. I cannot say enough things about our team, and I hope all of you have experienced the same wonderful experience with that team that we hear about. With that, I'd like to perhaps turn things over to Ray, see if we've got a little bit of time perhaps for a question or two, And thank you all for your time today on behalf of Jason and myself. Thank you so much for spending the day with us.
Thanks, Kevin and Jason. All right, we definitely do. Here's one that came in, and it said, can Stratusphere offer metrics on UX against popular SaaS solutions, such as Salesforce, G Suite, Office 365, etc.?
What a great question. So we're not a APM or application performance monitoring solution. So if you're looking for specifically metrics of how well those platforms, and I'm not thinking necessarily SaaS or software as a service, but you've got your own internal web-based applications. We are not an APM vendor. That said, Stratusphere does have extremely deep metrics as it relates to browser visibility. So I can tell you what is the performance of the browser when people are looking at Salesforce.com or any of the Salesforce.com related web-based elements. Similarly, with the process optimization and or I should say the process network visibility, you can constrain or filter your outbound performance specifically to those domain addresses and look at the performance of all users over a specific time frame to a specific domain. So certainly from the user's point of view, we can tell you what their experience looks like. And if that's attributed to either the browser as a black box or the network connectivity between the browser and that external entity, we certainly have the ability to trend and provide deep and granular metrics and information to support visibility of those types of SaaS applications.
All right, great. Here's a question. It says, does FlexApp and ProfileUnity support mobile users? For example, can a mobile user connected to network launch FlexApp?
That's a good question as well. So FlexApp and ProfileUnity can support laptops, but there are certain features that are for a well-connected laptop, basically while they're on the corporate network. So that rules out FlexApp applications coming down to the endpoint. We are working on offline FlexApp capabilities, but it may be into the next year when we deliver that, okay? But for ProfileUnity, you can indeed manage the user very well and effectively. The best use case today is for a laptop that is occasionally offline. So you've got a roaming salesperson that has to go out in the field sometimes, and that laptop can absolutely be managed with ProfileUnity UEM policies on it. The profile will indeed come down to the endpoint. As you saw in today's demo, the compressed files are uncompressed and local as if it's local profile. And then the next time they come to the office, everything resyncs. There's very many things in the works, including support of Azure Active Directory. So this will open up offline use cases further, but where the support of Azure Active Directory will be in the plan for the fourth quarter of this year. So again, yes, there are certain functionality that is indeed available. You should know what those limits are for full functionality.
All right, someone asked if this session will be available afterwards. Yes, this session is being recorded, so keep an eye on your inbox in the days following the event, and we'll send out a link for you for review or to share with a colleague. So that addresses that one. Here's another question. When will ProfileUnity FlexApp client, here, let me restart this. When will ProfileUnity FlexApp be client to Cloud for Management Console without the need for terrestrial AD?
That was probably, they might have got their answer when I was rambling on with the previous one. Yeah. So Azure Active Directory will be supported toward the end of this year. And that'll open up some new frontiers to be able to run ProfileUnity even more flexibly from the cloud. If that didn't answer the question, you can email us afterwards.
All right. Someone asked, can profile, oh, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Someone asked, can ProfileUnity use Delta upload harvesting for portable profiles to shorten log off time?
Yes, we actually leverage that already today. So when you're doing a portable profile and you write back, the profile storage that's on the SMB are on the cloud storage today. The only portions of the profile that get written back, today's demonstration had 45 rule sets in it, so it was 45 compressed files. If the user had ever logged on to either that profile or the profile storage area today, only the deltas would be written back.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I'm not seeing any other questions.
Yeah, let me clarify that too. I'll have to look into that a little bit further for the write back, because that's exactly what they're asking. For the write back, we may be doing an entire 45 compressed files write back. So they're probably nodding their head. That's what they were talking about. Some of the issues that reside around that are a chicken and the egg scenario, needing to know what the files are out there first. So we'd have to ping the directory of the storage area. And we've looked at that before, but we'll take that under note. And I'll also double check if you're interested. If that's a roadmap item, you can reach back out to us.
Okay, great. Well, I think that we've gone over our time, and I don't see any other further questions. So with that being said, thank you, Jason and Kevin, for your time today and for today's presentation. As always, if you have questions for us, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at sales@liquidware.com or visit our website. And again, keep an eye on your inbox in the days following the event for a link to the recording. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.